Welcome to the Convince Me podcast, where we are on a mission to convince you to step out of your entertainment comfort zone and try something new. So with that said, let's get to convincing. This week,
Starring me and my focusing face.
we're going to be talking about two brand new anime, brand new to us, not to the world. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so curious to talk to you about this. But last episode, Darren convinced me to try Mushoku Tensei, and I convinced Darren to try Witch and the Beast. I don't believe either of us have tried the others. However, that leads me into the One Piece update for the episode. And I will say, it's been an interesting journey, because my One Piece journey as of episodes that have been released is now over, because I am fully caught up, which is crazy to say. So, Darren, let's spoil everything. No, so, fun fact. After being fairly close to the end, the wife and I started watching the live-action One Piece. And my wife realized that she actually kind of likes the live-action One Piece, like a decent amount. And it has led her to embarking on her own journey of the anime One Piece. We're gonna see if she is how she does, because the thing about One Piece that I don't think people realize, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here, is that the most common complaint, Darren, I'm sure you know what the most common complaint of One Piece is. There's two most common complaints. The first one is that the pacing is glacial, which I cannot deny. The beginning of One Piece is painfully slow. I don't think any One Piece fan will deny that. There are still good character moments. There's good action set pieces. Yes, but it is still not good pacing because it is 90s pacing. The other aspect, Darren?
It's just too long.
It's just too long.
It's just too
And
long.
I would say that should be, honestly, a sign to people who are kind of interested, because you can't be the second longest running anime of all time if you're not a good show. You can't.
Now, I do want to preface the irony of you finally saying that.
Well, yeah, because I was on the other side of it. It's easy to say
Yeah,
that when you're on the other side. Like,
yeah.
duh.
That was like your big thing. And for those, I don't remember if we've ever said this on the show or not, but when I first started trying to convince Ryan to start watching One Piece, we were both in college. So we're talking, this would have been probably 2009, 2010 ish time. And mind you, back then, I mean, we were only in like the
It was like
three
300s.
300s, like
I think
380s. I want to
it
say
might have been in, would that have been Thriller Bark at that point, or Punk Hazard at that point?
before Punk Hazard,
Would have
because
been,
Punk Hazard was post time skip. It was definitely pre time skip.
okay. So then maybe Alabasta.
No, after Alabasta for sure.
Skypia?
After Skypia, no, I think we were right before Paramount War.
Ah, okay.
Is when all of that probably was happening. And no, it was so funny because back then, I mean, 300-400 episodes, and Ryan saying, "Oh, I don't have time. It's too long. There's so many other things I could be doing with my time." And so he ultimately decided to try to catch up to it, married, with a kid, a full-time job. Whereas when we were like 18, 19 years old and had literally nothing but time, and he only had about a quarter to a third of the number of episodes to watch. No, then it was too inconvenient.
I mean,
Too
yeah.
inconvenient.
Yeah. How was I supposed to know that the show would be what it was and that it was going to go on for as long as it has? Because the craziest part is, for those who haven't started it, if you're thinking of catching up, my wife sent me a reel, or I found it, I don't remember, that says, at this current point, if you were to watch 3 episodes a day, which is at the beginning of One
About an hour
Piece.
and a half.
No, 3 episodes, even with the closing or the new time where it's like most of the episode
Yeah,
is an episode, it's
an
an
hour
hour.
15.
The
like
episodes are 20.
23-minute episodes.
That's if you
23,
exclude
40.
intro, recap, and
Well, sure.
outro,
Sure.
which is about 3 minutes. So it's an hour at most and 45 minutes for the older episodes. So, like, 45 minutes a day. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Um, but it is you don't know what you're getting into because One Piece has a bunch of different parts where like you can say this is what One Piece is. There are a few parts where you're like this is what One Piece is because there's the part where it's like oh snap the characters are huge. Then you have another point where it's like okay so this is like the modern ish not modern but more up to date pacing of like what One Piece is going to be. And then you have when you get to the later thing where it's like, okay, this is what One Piece is now. So it has a bunch of rebirths
Mm-hmm.
throughout the show,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just really good. It's I'm glad I started it. I'm glad I'm caught up because now in 2 weeks I can watch the new episodes.
It's true. And for those who like, if you've really been living under an anime rock, and don't like see reels or anything, the animation quality of One Piece has now become on par with all of the best animation that you can think of now. Like
It's
the animation
crazy.
as of the Wano arc, the animation has really just
And I also will say don't listen to anybody when they say when One Piece gets good because it's going to be different for everybody. My
yes.
my moment of like, oh snap, I'm bought in was in an arc called Arlong Park. That was when I was like, okay, this is dope. Then some people it's Sabaody or Water 7 or whatever. There's a bunch of different places where like you might get drawn in. It's going to be up to you. There is no like this is where you'll get sucked in. There's no way to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you make it into it a certain way, I'm not going to sit here and tell you have to get through, two, three, 400 episodes before you make that decision. If you try to watch it and you don't like it, then like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've seen people all over the internet who were legitimate One Piece haters. Like all of the common complaints, stupid, who cares about a show about pirates, blah, blah, blah. Until the point inevitably comes where the way that the story is written, the way that the world is built, you will get brought to tears at least once.
I have been become emotional at points in One Piece purely because a character appeared.
Oh yeah,
Just because a character like showed up. That's
I
it.
and
That's
I
all they did.
immediately, as soon as you said it, one immediately popped into my head during a very specific tournament of a very specific arc.
Right, like it's
Like,
it's
it's that
you
easy.
it's that easy and then you get attached to inanimate objects. It's it's crazy. But we
Is it inanimate?
who knows? But that is the One Piece update. There will be no further One Piece updates because I'm fully caught up. So
True.
it is a joy to say because what that means is that the time I was spending watching One Piece, I can go back and I was telling Darren that I am going to be watching a show that I have been ridiculed for never seeing. There are a few. There are quite a few I've mentioned in the first episode, but another one is Samurai Champloo. Never seen it. And it's only 12 episodes. That's like a day of
Yeah.
watching. So like
You'll understand when I got really excited for Watanabe mode in Ghost of Yote. It is because of Samurai Champloo. Like that's what Watanabe did.
right, yeah.
So you'll get very quickly why I was as excited about that as I was,
Yeah.
even though I've still never actually played the game.
Yeah, that and then Afro Samurai and then coming up in the coming weeks, I think I'm just going to grit my teeth, not in a negative way, but just bite down and do Full Metal Alchemist. Got to do it. Got to do it.
Gotta do it.
Got to do it.
Should probably watch Mushoku Tensei at some point though.
I mean, I will, but like I got to watch I can't say that I'm a fan of anime if I haven't watched like the forefathers of anime and like Full Metal Alchemist
But
Brotherhood,
people will argue that that's the forefathers of shonen, right? Some
which
people
is
will
my
give you
genre.
some people will give you the exact same amount of crap for having never seen Love Hina or Fruits Basket
But that's not my
or
genre. I'm not gonna watch.
Code Geass
Well,
or
Kojius is that's action ish. But
yeah.
we're going off tangents. We gotta talk about our shows of the week now. Darren, stop me.
Mm,
Don't actually, but stop me if
hmm
you've heard a plot similar to this before.
Oh, did someone
So,
get kicked out of the hero's party?
no.
Oh, all right. Well, over one.
um, but my anime was A Wild Last Boss Appeared, and so I want you to imagine a video game, an MMO, even if you will. And in A Wild Last Boss appeared, there is this game. Pretty sure it's Evergate is Xgate. Sorry, Xgate Online is what it's called. And there's a character named Lufus Mafal, who is like a player who has reached the top of power. Right? They are
Lufus?
the unofficial Lufus. Yeah. What?
What a horrid name. That's Rufus. His name's Rufus.
No, but it's Lufus, and it's a
Well,
girl.
there
But
is no L character
I
in
don't know what to
Japanese.
tell you, dude.
Homie's name is Rufus.
In the
That's
synopsis,
terrible.
and
That's
subtitles and everything,
terrible.
it's Rufus
Yeah, well, it
Mafal.
also used to be Zolo too, so it's
Fair. So she is the unofficial last boss because the male player who's controlling her or whatever like reached the peak of the game, and basically nobody could defeat him. And so what they did was the players in the game created this big war that happened where they had to try and go and beat her, and she lost to them. And then after that's done, a character appears on the screen that asks him and is like, "Hey, do you want to play a new role?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm in." So he plays a new role, and he's summoned into Xgate, and he embodies the character that he made, Lufus, Lufus Mafal. And
Rufus.
there are a bunch of weird things happening. Like he, it's interesting because I've never seen a piece of media where a character consistently uses the royal pronoun. So the character refers to themselves as they and we and all these other things, and it's very confusing reading subtitles because when they say we, I'm like, who's we? Oh no, they're talking about themselves. Like it took some getting used to. But this character that he embodies is brokenly strong, and the plot eventually moves on to during their time playing the game they had the equivalent of the Knights of the Round Table. Like he had his people, who were the Zodiac. So he goes through and there's this running joke of a character who when he got to make his tower, there's this like blue head like servant right hand girl character who was just a background character, like he just put there as like decoration, and then she's the first one to greet him, and he's like, who are you? She's like, you don't remember me. And then she's like, you placed me there, and the character's like, oh, you weren't supposed to be a real person. I just, like, you were just background. You weren't supposed to, like, be a character and have a personality. And then all as they go around and find all the Zodiacs and things, they all address her in the same way. But as you feel each time it happens, just feels a little off. Like, because at first it's a running joke. But then you're like, something's weird here. Something's weird here with this character. But obviously, you'll have to watch to find out more. But the it's 12 episodes, and during the 12 episodes, the goal of Lufus is to go around and basically like recollect her people because she wants to basically um, at this point, because there is a season two. There's going to be a season two. The 12 heavenly stars, or what they're called, are basically like freaking out, going on a rampage, and she wants to go re-get them. But you, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Overlord of a similar vein, where like this character was like the ultimate power, like couldn't be undone? Was Overlord not
No.
based on a game?
Yes. But it was the basic premise of Overlord is it's a game where the guy who is the character, Nimble Mamonga is the character's actual name in game at the time, is a member of the guild Eins Ulgaun, and the game is shutting down. And so he goes and like tries to organize a meeting of his guild like one last time before the game shuts down. There's like a celebration of the game and what they're like what they did, their memories, blah blah blah. Only I think one person actually shows up and then leaves. And so he stays logged into the game when they pull the plug on it, and he ends up just staying in the game as though it's his own whole new world. So then he adopts the persona of Einzelgaun, and then things unfold from there. Now they were like, I can't remember if they were a top tier or the top tier guild, but he was just a part of it. He wasn't like the guy.
Okay, fair. So yeah, in this world, Lufus is the guy, or the royal we, and it's the dynamic is that in the game she was like basically a tyrant. Like she was this all powerful thing that people were scared of. But the thing was, her goal was to unite everybody. Like she united the world to prevent like racism and all this other stuff. But then when you think of the world, it's a game. And having no conflict in a game, like no goal, because the original point of the world was to like fight against bad guys and unite places and different things, and she united everything. So what do you do when like you've gotten to that point? So
Life
she
sim.
so she phased she like basically heel turned to be like rah. They staged the battle for her to lose, and so now that he's been reborn into this role, he has to go around as like an infamous like hated person, or like feared person, not hated but feared by a lot of people. So like, how do you navigate this world where people are scared of you because of what you did, because of a choice you made? So there's a bit of internal conflict of like in that sense. And I do want to talk about the animation because man, it's really good. It's real good. And you were talking about how like after catching up to One Piece, it's like, and seeing Demon Slayer and seeing JJK and all these now modern animated shows with like crazy animation, solo leveling. I'm not going to say that the animation of the show is like there, but for not being like one of the most popular anime like JJK and all those others are, this show is really good animation. It's
Sure.
the studio is the animation studio is Wow World. I looked them up and they haven't made a single thing that I'm familiar with. So
Sure.
that was interesting. I don't even know how much of the other stuff they've made were like action based. So watching this and seeing this anime I just stumbled on have such crazy good animation. You know,
Sure.
that's always an extra benefit. The story is it's I mean, how is a video game anime isekai not a trope at this point? But
It is. It has been since probably Dot Hack.
But I wasn't Dot Hack one of the first, and then you have your Sword Arts, and then you have like your Overlord, and the Sword Art had like what 5
and
spin-offs or
so
whatever the
many
heck it is.
Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash and
Yeah, I started watching it. That's good.
Shangri-La Frontier, and
But yeah,
although
it's
Shangri-La Frontier is a little different, but
now the question is does it get slow? I mean, it's hard for a 12 episode anime to have like a slow episode, right? Like
mhm,
everything is building towards something. There's action like basically every other episode at minimum, and it's really
sure.
good action. And there was one moment that made me laugh because it was completely left field. So up until this point where this thing that made me laugh happened, like the show's been played fairly straight as
Mhm.
anime go. Like it hasn't presented itself as like a comedy thing or anything. And so there was a moment where the character the main character can basically make whatever she wants because she's the ultimate strong whatever. And the characters are like, we got to go to this place, but it's like 2,500 kilometers away. It's far. And then the person's like, oh wait, I can make anything. So out of nowhere, a
Hmm.
random commercial for an RV starts playing, like a
Like a
90s
pop-up ad.
infomercial, like ad for an RV. That's like this luxurious RV. Like it's so spacious and all this other stuff. And I'm like, where is this coming from? This has been played pretty straight so far, and it was so campy in 90s, and it was so
Was
good.
it was it in the anime style, or was it like
Yes, no, it
life?
wasn't live action. It was like the anime
Okay.
style, and I'm like,
Oh, that's a
what?
shame. That would have been really funny.
Oh, that would have been so funny. But then the character makes an RV in this fantasy medieval world with magic. She's like, wait, I gotta like move a bunch of people. Let me just make an RV real quick. And
Sure.
so that commercial was just so random. So I laughed real hard. Um, and the other thing, I've never asked this question, but I have to imagine. I feel like in most animes that I've watched, there's always like at least one, and in JRPGs I play too. There's always at least one arc or segment where there's a hot spring. Are they that prevalent in the culture of Japan? Like, I guess they'd have to be if it's so prominent, right, in their media.
Onsen culture is very. It is, but it's also very uniquely Japan, though.
Well, yeah, yeah.
And so that's I as much as it may be like, oh God, what are they called? There's like entire towns that are dedicated to like the onsen and the experience of it.
I want to go. Watching all the
Oh
like
yeah, that would be incredible.
watching all these media that have these hot spring trips and everything like that sounds so fun. I want to go to one.
I learned recently that I don't know if I could because I would have visible tattoos.
Wait, what?
So because of like the historical significant, my understanding, of course, so grains of salt abound. My understanding though is that visible tattoos are a bit of a faux pas in Japan because of the historical prevalence of the Yakuza. And so the Yakuza were the ones with visible tattoos historically. And so there's a lot of similar mentality to that. Now, I don't know how true that still is in modernity. But I do know that, like, as far as the onsen goes, you couldn't go to, like, the public baths with that. So, like, the public bath part of the onsen.
Yeah, I just see it so often, and I'm like, it's like in anime they're gonna have an arc like after a training arc or after they
Mm-hmm.
finish a mission or whatever. Like, let's go to the
Mm-hmm.
bathhouse, and it's like that sounds fun. I want to
That's
go.
definitely become the new thing. Whereas it used to be the
The
baseball
beat
arc, like
or
the
the beach
baseball
episodes.
episode, and the beach episode, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the baseball episode was always so prevalent.
hey man,
I
baseball's
mean,
where it's
they
at.
had like 3 or 4 of them, if I remember right, in the original Naruto.
I didn't watch any of those, so I don't know. But
I skipped a
like
lot of them.
that's
But...
that's basically the gist. The ending definitely leaves you wondering what's going to happen because you find out something about the world,
Hmm.
and there is a big enough cliffhanger at the end of the 12th episode where you're like, I gotta see more. So again, I have really started digging in anime only in like what has it been, 3 years, 2 years since I really started like digging into like watching stuff.
Sure.
Um, and so like I can't sit here and say like what I'm seeing is unique or not tropey. I don't know. I don't.
Sure.
So, but from my experience of someone who's honestly fairly new to like the big not mainstream anime scene, um yeah, it makes me want to keep watching. I know the second season's on its way. um Not a ton of fan service, not really, like no more than any other regular show. Like we're not reaching Fire Force levels here or anything. um I if I had to talk about something that made it stand out to me, it's definitely going to be the animation, because I'm used to seeing animation this good from like studios that like shows and studios that I'm familiar with. It's nice to stumble upon studios that aren't maybe as well known to me that
Sure.
can give like very high quality animation and action scenes. Choreography's good. The music was totally fine. Nothing that I'm gonna sit there and listen to. Opening was good. Opening was really good. I remember thinking of what I'm gonna compare it to as far as openings go, but I my brain kept wanting to say like feels like Day to Remember. I'd have to, we can listen after stream and I can tell you what my brain process was, but like closing not as memorable, but opening is, yeah, definitely worth the listen. And yeah, I mean, any questions about it or pretty straightforward? It's an
Yeah.
isekai video game MMO.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's another one of those, but I like those, so it's pretty easy enough. Hopefully, we get more details on the second season soon.
I can I there
There's
well
no
it's
there's
been
no date. I looked it up while you were talking about
ah
it, but it was only just announced in December of 25, so
oh then yeah.
it's in production, but there is no release date as of yet.
Okay, so then yeah, we know it's on the way, so that does give you time to watch it. I know
Right.
Elusive Samurai is coming soon, so if you were gonna watch that,
Yes.
um, yeah, we'll talk about the upcoming anime and how we feel about the current season that's about to end
Hmm.
after you talk about Tsukimichi. But before we do though, is a wild last boss appeared going to be on your radar?
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I I will withhold a certain degree of judgment on it, kind of depending on like when we see the second season, how well received is it. Um and I say that mostly because anime like this have this way of almost wrapping up their main story too quick,
Hmm.
to the point where it's wrapped up, but then there's still more to go. And it just feels like it gets drawn out for the sake of being drawn out.
So it looks like there is a novel, light novel, and manga, and the manga is actually still going.
Mm.
It started in 2017 and it continues to this day with 11 volumes.
Oh, all right. I mean, nothing
So
wrong with
shoot.
that.
Okay.
It's definitely interesting.
All right. So
But
yeah,
all right.
I did the thing. All right, walk
So
me
we've
through, man.
switched from a video game isekai to a regular isekai.
I
Um,
when you told me you're doing an isekai, I was like, oh, this is just gonna be the isekai episode.
I mean, I feel like they're gonna be for a while until we branch out from shonen a bit.
Not
Um,
wrong.
but that is to say, this is not the the isekai that you're used to, where main character has to die in the human world before getting brought in. Um, in this case, the main character Makoto, he is brought in to this other world by a moon god. I believe it is actually just Tsukiyomi. But I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure it's just Tsukiyomi, who basically is like, "Yo, we need you in this world. We'll bring you exactly as is. The goddess needs heroes, whatever, whatever." So Makoto gets brought before the goddess, and under normal circumstances in the isekai trope, you are genre, I guess, but you get like the favor of the goddess. So you get that's who gives you your powers. That's who like bestows good things upon you. It's who makes you objectively beautiful. Blah blah blah. The goddess thinks that the main character is so ugly that she wants nothing to do with him, and so basically like agrees to let him come into the world but gives him no blessing, strips him of the title of hero, and then just drops him like for like the beginning of a Fortnite map in the middle of this wasteland from like a mile up in the sky. And she's like, "Well, if you survive, you're good." And so he's literally like dropped into this wasteland of nothingness. Tsukiyomi appears before him, gives him at least a couple powers, the ability to understand, or I guess the goddess gave him the ability to understand all languages, but you can't speak common. So he can understand any like demi-human language, but he can't actually speak to other humans verbally. Um, Tsukiyomi, gives him other powers and basically is like, "Hey, thanks, help," and then reveals a very interesting thing. Makoto's parents are actually from the world that he is now being dropped into, and managed to escape that world into the human world to live their life normally.
That's interesting.
So his parents actually were reverse isekai into the world, and that then is the driving force to Makoto wanting to explore the world, basically try to trace his parents' steps and figure out the hows, the whys, the whos, and the whats.
Is reverse isekai? That's got to be a thing somewhere, right?
I mean, there are those things like where the devil gets brought into the modern world and has no magical abilities, or a guy gets like the devil is resurrected, but it's like 2,000 years in the future and everything is like crazy modern Neo Tokyo type of deal. So like yeah, that exists. But in this case, they just lived perfectly normal lives, and that was that. So Makoto begins his adventure, finds this orc village after saving this little orc girl who is basically about to go and offer herself as a sacrifice to the mist dragon for protection or whatever. And on the way there, she teaches him like the bare basics of magic because he's pretty much defenseless. He has good physical attributes, like he survives that fall from crazy high up. So his body is stronger, he is faster, whatever, whatever. But like doesn't have anything to really defend himself. So she teaches him the bare bones of magic, and naturally, as you would expect, he ends up just absolutely being this magical powerhouse where he's, with the most basic fire spell blowing holes in mountains.
Do you figure out why? Because she didn't give him that, right?
So he is amplified by being brought into this new world, but he's just really strong to the point where the degree of his strength is actually a plot point of like concern.
Sure.
Where there's in some later episodes his power and like his mana just amount is likened to that of just being a deity in that world. So he actually gets to a place where a little further on he starts wearing equipment that is designed to consume your mana so that people who can perceive mana see him as just a regular person.
Oh, so like
So basically he wears like cursed gear that strip him of power
Oh,
in order to keep him contained.
like Kenpachi. There we go. I was like, somebody does that. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. Similar concept. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So he goes, ends up offering to deal with this dragon for the orc village, ends up kind of defeating the dragon in a way. But in the course of doing that, she like views his memories of all of the things that he like saw and did in the previous life. And so he just overwhelms her and overpowers her completely with basic spells.
Oh.
Ends up forming a pact with her, like a subservience pact, where it basically shows that he is like it's like an 80, I think an 80-20 pact, indicating that he is roughly 4 times more powerful than her. And so she basically has to offer complete subservience to him,
Oh.
and then ends up taking on a human form of a very chesty blue haired girl.
What else
And
could
thus
she be?
begins our adventures. They end up creating like a mist pocket dimension where they move all the orcs to, and they start, think life sim. They start building a city, farming, agriculture. She also brings in lizard folk who are basically dragonoids, brings them in. In the next episode, he ends up doing the exact same thing he did with the dragon chick to this all consuming, gigantic, horrific black spider, who he then forms a pack with and becomes a very chesty kimono wearing black haired girl.
What are the odds?
What are the odds, man? But here we are. And so the three of them decide, all right, well, we're going to build up our village. Makoto decides he's going to live as a merchant and basically just try to get through, gain information, gain favor, and follow the pathway that his parents followed. Part of how they decide to get there, of course, is go and register at the Adventurers Guild, just like you would expect them to do, where they have these scrolls that show you what your approximate level is as a
Oh.
character, because I guess everybody has levels in the
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
and affinities and classes and things like that, even though this is not a video game. The two, packed beasts end up having levels over 1300, which makes them the strongest people in the Adventurers Guild by significant margins. Keeping in mind that Makoto is roughly 4 times stronger than them, he gets handed his scroll to determine his level. Level 1, 0 experience. So he objectively has enough mana of a god. He is more physically and magically capable than most other creatures. Level 1, no experience. E rank adventurer, that's it.
That sounds familiar.
It does, but it doesn't make sense, and that's yet to be explained as far as what I've seen for like the hows and the whys of what that is. And so the adventure continues, and they're growing their town, and they're going around trying to grow uh, a merchant, like a store, effectively, gain information, and just kind of move through the world. Um, Ever since I started watching this show, I have now started seeing, anime Facebook pages, Instagram accounts, whatever, post a bunch of pictures of main characters of like who's the most powerful here. And all of a sudden I'm seeing Makoto on a lot of those lists. So Makoto is potentially actually considered, and I haven't seen all of the second season yet. I'm on maybe episode 3 of season 2 right now. But apparently Makoto is being widely considered one of the most powerful protagonists in anime, at least relative to the isekai genre, if not just universally.
Well,
Yeah, so I look forward to finding out more about that, because we see him actually go all out once at the very beginning, I believe, of season 2. It might be the very end of season 1, but I'm pretty sure it's no. I think it's the very end of season 2,
are these
or the very beginning of season 2 rather.
12 or 24 episode seasons?
Different. They're different. So I believe the first season was 12, and the second episode or the second season I believe is 24.
Oh wow.
Let me look at that before I tell you that
Is
for
season 3
sure.
on the way?
Yes, it is. It's coming out this year.
Oh snap.
Season 2 is 25 episodes. Um, season 1 is 12. And I'm currently on episode 3 of season 2, with season 3 coming this very year. Um,
Nice.
and it's been good. There have been moments of where I have actually chuckled. The moments where things go crazy, things go pretty crazy.
Good
And it's just
animation.
kind of fun. Yeah, good animation. And it's just been kind of fun to watch this obviously broken protagonist try to make himself unbroken while also being considered objectively hideous to all other humans, to the point where he wears a mask because the goddesses viewed him as ugly. So he is just objectively ugly for a human. So people don't want to look at him. And then he also has to contain his mana, because it was described that if he were to not contain his mana, him approaching this human girl roughly contains the same aura as 5 demon lords approaching a girl.
So she just like die.
She like basically pissed her pants and ran away. And then the entire town that he was trying to go into like aimed bows at him and was super on guard and wouldn't let him in the town because he was a threat. Even though he is a level 1 E rank adventurer, according to the measurement scrolls, who also can't speak common, so he communicates through magical writing and his finger in common, because he can read and write it, but he can't actually
That would
use his mouth
that
to form the language.
that would be so genuinely infuriating.
Oh my god, ridiculous. I can't think in a D&D game where you speak literally every other language except common.
Which
That would actually be potentially a really fun character. And
that
I
would be
may introduce
infuriating,
that in a
dude.
campaign. Oh yeah, it would be just the worst thing. Um and so that's kind of the gist of the show. I mean, it apparently got crazy power scaling. Very few things have happened thus far that have resulted in any challenge, but it handles that in a way where it's like it doesn't feel like he's just flaunting being really strong. Like, dude is just actually trying to progress through the world and find out information about his parents. And he just keeps getting brought into shenanigans because the 2 girls who he has bonded pacts with um, are absolute chaos goblins.
The best kind.
Yes, yes, truly,
That's
chaos
great though. I
goblins.
mean, yeah, no, I'll check that out. I mean, it's how many anime have we seen that just don't end up getting a second, let alone a third season? Like that has to mean something, right?
Oh yeah.
In the day of
Well, and funny to bring that up because I actually looked this up. So the first season was produced by a studio called Studio C2C, which was known for Wandering Witch: The Journey of Elena, which I have heard of but have never seen. But the second season was considered a much larger project that they wanted to go more in depth for, and obviously it's literally double the number of episodes. So it got moved to JC's staff.
I've heard of
You may
them.
know, you may know that studio for being responsible for One Punch Man season 2
Okay, good.
and Eden Zero.
Ah,
So that's the animation that you're potentially getting into with season 2. Season 1 was nothing to scoff at. Season 2 already has been different.
so but Eden Zero, but not Fairy Tail, because
Eden
I
Zero, but
know
not Fairy
Eden Zero
Tail.
and Fairy Tail are connected.
I
But I
believe it
can't
is
think.
the same mangaka.
Yeah, I think that's the extent of it. And I think their worlds are their worlds connected. I don't actually know. I thought I remember
I
seeing
don't,
that,
I
but I
mean,
could be making that up.
I think they are in the same way that like Fairy Tail and Rave Master are also connected,
Fair
and
enough.
that typically is just with Plu.
Yeah, no,
Gotta have the carrot nosed dog.
I I'm in. I mean, yeah, a second season with a third season coming soon. Anime like now
Dude,
again
I'm not gonna lie. You'll like it. It's like
having
think any Chaos Goblin D&D campaign you've ever seen, heard, been a part of, TV show. with like the one guy who's objectively the paladin trying to wrangle the warlock or sorcerer and the rogue.
But I mean, now that One Piece is done, like that's so much time that like I can spend
Hmm.
on like shows that I want to watch and should have watched and all that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I could. Do you know when season 3 will be happening?
There is not an official release date yet. I simply know this year.
Okay, cool. That's fine. That's totally fine. I can do that. Yeah, no, I will. I'll see if I can catch up, and then we can enjoy season 3 together. Um,
Hmm.
but speaking of continuations, uh, April is
Hmm.
about to be hype. April's about to be hype. For those who, as Darren mentioned earlier, have been living under an anime rock, One Piece comes back in 2 weeks from recording of this episode, basically. And it is now no longer going to be a weekly show for ad infinitum. It is going to be going to the modern age of anime where it is releasing 26 episodes per year. Which I'm sure there are some people who are very upset about that. But, you know,
It's me. I'm some people.
I mean, yeah, how do you go from like your comfort of like, yeah, I got this run every week, I'm going to watch it, and then you have to go half a year
It's
basically without seeing anything.
it's not even just that it's been that. It's that I've literally watched One Piece weekly to some degree for 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has been a weekly part of my life, with the exception of hiatuses, for 15 years.
The longest hiatus I think was the 6 month one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure there are people who what that tells me though is that each episode is going to be all gas, no filler, all gas, no breaks. It's going to be straight fire. It's going to be interesting. The pacing should be fantastic. Like it's this is their time to cook.
Yeah.
And then next month we have Wistoria coming back. So
Oh,
basically
absolutely.
we have the big three airing at the same time for the first time in God knows how long with Naruto,
And Dragon Ball
Boruto.
this year.
Oh yeah, and Dragon Ball. So Dragon
Oh, no,
Ball
no, 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 no. Naruto is coming back this year. There's like 8 episodes.
of what?
Naruto
Of what though?
original.
Oh, okay. Well, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece are going to be airing at the same year for the first time in God knows how long, and then
It
DBZ,
would, yeah, would have
and
been like
then
2009,
and
probably.
then we have the non-magic trio airing this
Mm,
year with Mashals, Black Clover, and Wistoria. But that's why I mentioned this is because Wistoria, people need to watch Wistoria.
yes,
People need to watch it.
yes. Wistoria,
It's
Wand and Sword,
so
or
good.
Sword and Magic, Wand and Sword.
I think it's Wand and Sword.
I think so too.
It makes me mad that there has been nothing on Reign of the Seven Spellblades, but that's a whole other thing. But
Ugh,
you gotta watch with story. The animation is top tier. The story's so interesting. The main character is relatable. He's fun to root for. It's a good
mm-hmm,
time. Very
mm-hmm.
good time. And then
Shoot, I might have to go back and rewatch it before the season kicks off.
what else is coming in April?
The new anime from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist.
What is that called again?
Yep.
While Darren figures that out, we have Witch Hat Atelier, which I'm excited about coming up. I don't know. I can't. Don't quote me if that's spring. I don't know if that's spring or not, but I know Witch Hat
It
Atelier
is.
is
It's
coming back.
April. It's
Okay.
spring. It's called Demons of the Shadow Realm.
Yeah. So the April
Yomi no
April
Tsugai.
April could be a
April
banger
4th is
season.
when that comes out.
Yeah, April's about to be a banger season.
There's
Because
other stuff too, aren't there? Like sequels coming out too.
Classroom of the Elite is coming back. If anybody watches
Sure,
that,
sure.
this is gonna be an interesting one. I told Darren I think I might just give it like 3 or 4 episodes. The beginning after the end, season 2 starts.
That's what it is.
I'm really hoping that because the story of the beginning after the end is fine. It's good. It's interesting. I want to know more. But when your animation is just image with speed lines behind them, and that's all the action is, like, you can't do
We're,
that
we're looking at you, Blue Lock season 2
in One Punch Man
and One
season
Punch
3.
season 3. Except the
Like,
One Punch season 3 was absolutely the most egregious of it because of how long we waited.
oh, dude, they had so much time, but I'm sure there was some behind the scene craziness or whatever. But yeah, April was looking to be a banger season, and now we go to what we're currently watching. I pulled up the list of what we're watching, and everything we're watching has either one or two more episodes until it's done. I think at this point,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much all one. We've been watching Hell's Paradise, Noble
Mm-hmm.
Reincarnation, personal top 3 that I've enjoyed so far.
This
Jujutsu
season for
Kaisen,
sure.
yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, Sentenced to be Hero, Jack of all trades, Dead Account, Roll Over and Die. And
And then
that's it.
I'm also watching Free Ren. I'm watching the Samurai Troopers sequel series. I'm watching There Was a Cute Girl in a Dungeon, so I tried confessing to her.
God dang, you're watching
Which has
so
been,
many.
yeah, it's fine.
What I did drop, we dropped 2. We did drop 2,
Yeah,
and it hurt my soul to do it, but I I
they
looked
didn't
at the
do anything.
discourse online, and people love My Hero Vigilantes. I don't like it. I was
Yeah,
not pulled in by anything that show was doing. I just wasn't. And there are some people
no,
who say that they like it better than the main series. Like, I personally don't see it. If you do, good for you. I don't see it. I was not in.
yeah.
I wasn't entertained. I got through season 1, hoping that something was gonna that I would be pulled in, and I
Well,
just
and the
wasn't.
problem is we were, and then the second half started, and it felt like nothing that happened in the first half happened. It felt like it started all the way over.
Yeah, I mean, there were some interesting moments. I just
Yeah.
wasn't drawn in. Maybe once the season's over, I'll
Maybe when
just
maybe when the whole thing ends, I
yeah,
might go back.
because I think it's only going to be like 3 or 4 seasons, so it's not going to be a ton of episodes.
I think so.
Um, and then another show that like I just watched on a whim was Scum of the Brave. I dropped that one because I wasn't pulled into that one either.
Yep.
I know Darren watched an episode or two. It wasn't for me. There is another one that I'm interested in that's like mid-season. It has 3 episodes called Release That Witch. Looks interesting.
Oh, you forgot another one.
What?
The Holy Grail of Eris.
Oh, we did drop Holy Grail of Eris. That it's not my speed. It was interesting. If you are into like mystery and like political intrigue and like high
Mm-hmm.
society type beat, like that show could be for you, but yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't for me.
Mixed with a good vengeance story.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It had its components of like potentially being good. Just wasn't for me. That's all.
Yeah. No.
But with that said, that is all we have for this episode. Stay tuned. Darren and I are tonight gonna watch a show called Rooster Fighter, and we're both very curious to see how that goes. I have a feeling it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I'm so excited for you to see the thing that I saw.
I'm excited to see the thing
I'm
that you
so
saw.
excited.
But next time we meet, I will be convincing Darren to try Tact Op Destiny, and Darren will be convincing me to try Sabakui Bisco. So those are our anime. We will see you next time, and as always, guys.
Are you convinced yet?